Hey Geeks and Gamers, this is Michael, and this is WWF Attitude. I want to try something new for the format of the show. Rather than giving you a long essay and a photo of the superstar, I'm going to go ahead and just give it to you right here, right now, and do little jokes and be funny about it. So here we go. Tonight's episode is going to be about the Texas Rattlesnake, the toughest SOB in the WWF, the Bionic Redneck, and basically the guy who made the whole Attitude Era. Yes, you can go ahead and throw hate at me, but I'm sorry. To me, he's the reason why the WWF succeeded, because Vince let him do whatever he wanted. The man I'm talking about is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold. He's walking a mud hole at somebody and walk it dry. Stone Cold. Austin with those piston like right hands. Sorry, good old JR. After being booted by WCW, Steve Austin went to ECW to work on his mic skills and his gimmick, and then Vince came calling, and he came 20 years ago, around this time, to the WWF as the Ringmaster. As Ted DiBiase's personal protege, he came in with white boots and emerald trunks and a Bruce Willis haircut, and, well, basically it was just forgettable. He just was, whatever. Long story short, nobody cared who he really was until right after the May in Your House, he lost to Savio Vega, and DiBiase was gone, and basically he just became Steve Austin. However, thanks to little creative control, he won the King of the Ring. He bested Marvelous Mark Miro, and he accidentally cut the inside of his lip, but he left, but then he came back and fought another guy, and then he fought Jake the Snake Robertson in the final round to become 1996's King of the Ring, and that's where it all began. He got on that stage, talked to Doc Hendricks or Michael P.S. Hayes, told him, Jake, basically mocking Jake Roberts, saying, you talk about your Psalms, you talk about John 3:16, well, Austin 3:16 says, I just whoop your ass. And that's when it all became. He became Stone Cold Steve Austin, the bald-headed, everyday Texan who drank beer, wore a leather cut, and just raised hell. He did not care. And for those 2 years, he was just it. Between feuding with Bret Hart, to fighting him at WrestleMania 13, to being the guy nobody really liked, to being the guy who everybody loved. For losing, even though he lost the match to Bret Hart, he still reigned supreme that night. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys remember the whole him not wanting to tap out, his hand reaching for the ropes, and the blood coming down his face, and he's like, you wouldn't give. And so for months he feuded with Bret, and then he fought with the Hart Foundation, and then he feuded with Owen Hart. However, in SummerSlam 97, Owen did a botched tombstone pile driver. Instead of landing on his knees, he landed on his butt, and Steve's head went right there, basically paralyzing him in the ring. However, he schoolboyed him for the win. He got the Intercontinental Championship, but he could barely wrestle nor move. It's a miracle he even got out of that ring alive, thanks to Owen botching it. So for 3 months, he didn't wrestle. He just went down there. He was mad he wouldn't wrestle. He couldn't wrestle. Kayfabe-wise, he was just mad at Vince McMahon because he couldn't do anything, even though he wasn't supposed to because of his neck injury. He had to lay off for 3 months. And that's when his anger just basically made him the working class guy. And of course, him just basically telling Vince McMahon, I did everything I can and you want me to, but you know what? You could just kiss my ass. And that's when he stunned Vince, and that's when the audience loved him, because who didn't want to stone cold stun their boss? Lord knows I'd give my boss a stunner in a heartbeat. My old boss. After that, he just feuded with The Rock until Royal Rumble 98. He basically put a bullseye on his chest and wanted everybody to get a piece of him. And he actually not only did stun The Rock, he won it, and then he finally got a shot at Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 14 with Mike Tyson as a guest referee. They had a great match, and when it was all said and done, Steve Austin stunned him. Mike Tyson did the count, and it happened. Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold. He became the champion, and that's when him and Vince and the whole Attitude Era would just skyrocket. In fact, a month after WrestleMania, when Vince and him fought in a match that was supposed to happen but never did, thanks to Dude Love, they beat WCW in the ratings war and would continue to win the ratings war for months and months. Fast forward, he got, whether it's his feud with The Rock, the Kane, The Undertaker, Triple H, whoever, Steve Austin would win, lose a title, go through whoever he had to, win the Royal Rumble with the title back, do it all over again. It was sort of, I don't want to say live, die, and repeat, but more like, win the Royal Rumble, win WrestleMania, repeat, the end. Until 99 when kayfabe-wise he was hit by Triple H by a car. In reality, his neck was getting so bad in his back, he really had to get surgery. So on Thanksgiving 99, he canceled all his events and decided it was time to get back surgery and neck surgery. And I had to know because he was supposed to be at a house show. He didn't show, and The Rock ended up being the main star instead. After a year, he, was on the shelf, and he didn't come back till Backlash 2000 and hit it, to save The Rock and help him win the title. And then when September rolled around, a new and improved Stone Cold Steve Austin came and demolished everybody in his path. Fast forward to, not only did he fight with Triple H and Rikishi, fast forward to Royal Rumble 2001, winning it all over again. And then he had to fight The Rock for the title one last time at WrestleMania X7 in Houston. But before that, he had a 3 Stages of Hell match with Triple H. It was kind of dumb having him lose to Triple H, but in the end, he did get to stun him, and the match was over. He was still the last man standing, but it was just horrible booking on their part. Fast forward, Austin beats The Rock with the help of Vince McMahon, and that's when, basically, it was the worst thing that could ever happen. Steve Austin and Vince McMahon were buddies, partners, and that's when the Austin babyface angle died, and he became the Bionic Redneck, and it was like then of course we had the invasion angle, and that was one of the worst things that ever happened, because first Steve Austin went from babyface to heel, and then of course the invasion happened. Rock was in Hollywood filming, so cool, Steve Austin's gonna stand for WWF. No, he didn't. He decided to stab everybody back, and now he works for WCW, and it was just one of the worst angles ever. And then you couldn't save this angle. It was just horrible. You kind of ruined the persona of Steve by having this happen, and when it was all said and done, that was it. So after that, he then feuded with the NWO. Okay, he's gonna fight Hogan at WrestleMania. Yeah. No, he fought Scott Hall. Still won, but he didn't fight. Hogan ended up fighting Rock that year. And then we come towards the end of his career in the WWF. He was supposed to fight Brock Lesnar in a match for the qualifying round. Okay, that was one of the worst booking ideas ever. If you're going to have Austin fight Brock Lesnar, you do it at a pay-per-view. You don't do it in a qualifying match. Angry and enraged, Austin just took his bags and went home. He left the company. He didn't want to help anything. So, being angry and bitter, he just stayed out of the company for years, and then finally Vince talked to him, and he said, I don't want to do this anymore. They renegotiated, and then months later, Steve Austin came back in 2003 at No Way Out to fight Eric Bischoff, which he won. And then, one last time, we would have The Rock and Austin at WrestleMania. This time, Austin lost. He didn't win. The heel Rock won instead, but the only reason why is because he had to face Goldberg the next month. Austin was hard. He couldn't do it no more. His neck got injured. He ended up doing TV shows, being the general manager, and he would do guest referees appearances here and there, but, Father Time catches up with all of us. It is what it is, Peyton Manning. We love him, but, Father Time. All in all, the Attitude Era owes a huge debt to Steve Austin. We owe a debt to Steve Austin, and so does Vince McMahon. We would like to say thank you, Steve Austin, for what you've done for us. You will always be the man who revolutionized the Attitude Era in our hearts, in our book. Or just basically the baddest cat in the whole world, the guy who would drink a beer, relax, and kick your ass and give you a stunner. So to that I say, thank you, Steve Austin, and thank you, Geeks and Gamers. I had fun doing this, and I will catch you later. And my next episode will be about The Rock, not Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. So thank you, and Stone Cold, Stone Cold, Stone Cold. Oh my, oh my.